You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thanks for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
And our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you know, each and every time we start the show, we try to talk about spine surgery, and everyone knows that when it comes to operating on your spine, that's not something you just jump right into. You really try to exhaust all those conservative type methods, chiropractic. People have tried acupuncture, physical therapy, injections. But when those things stop working or they don't work at all and you're forced to be put on medications, that is not a life for anyone, and there is an alternative. That alternative would be the Bonati Spine procedures. We have a great show lined up today for you. We'll speak with an author who lost his 15-year-old son to prescription drugs. He wrote a book called Overmedicated and Undertreated, and he'll be on to discuss it with us. Then we'll hear from Dr. Dominic Maglio, who will discuss how we need to take back control of our own health care. Then we'll find out what's new in American medicine today.
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
It is my pleasure to introduce to the program from McKinney, Texas, Amy Milkey.
Amy, how are you?
Hi.
Good. Hi, how are you?
We are well.
I love her story because she was a very active lady, and you were into horseback riding, correct?
Yes.
To begin with?
Yes.
Yes. So why don't you tell us how you came to be in pain? Was it an accident, degenerative in nature?
Mine was probably more degenerative in nature. I never had any accidents that anybody could really say, oh, that's when it happened.
Sure.
But I had been in a lot of pain, like through my back, my low back and my hips and down my legs, and just always in discomfort and pain. And it really kind of hindered my horseback riding, of course.
Right.
But, you know, I just pushed through it and just kept going and, you know, did the whole chiropractic and acupuncture and the whole thing.
Right.
And one day, actually I remember the day because it changed my life forever. April 29th, 2014, I coughed in my bathroom getting ready in the morning, and my L4, L5 disc slipped out and shattered in my spinal column.
From a cough.
So
That's incredible.
That's what everybody, So
that just
5
hurts.
days later,
Yeah.
I was in emergency surgery with absolutely no feeling and no blood flow from my waist down.
Ooh.
So
that had to
they
be
went
scary.
in. It was obviously emergency, so it was here in Dallas. My surgeon works on the Cowboys, and he was like, I have never seen anything that bad. And so he's like, I'm going to be surprised if you have full mobility afterwards, but we're going to keep it positive, and we're going to go from here.
Okay.
So he pulled out all the little pieces and pushed back what was left of my disc.
Right.
And we started going through PT and all that afterwards. Took several months to get back.
Amy, wait, hold on one second. So going into this surgery with obviously someone who knows what they're doing, they work on the Cowboys. There was a potential that you were going to be at least semi-paralyzed coming out of this.
Yes.
And that was looking on the bright side.
Wow.
Yes.
Unreal.
Yes. That was the bright side.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you take physical therapy after the fact. Take us from there.
So I started physical therapy, and, you know, things are getting better. I'm starting to move a little bit more, starting to gain that restructure of my blood flow down my legs. And then about a year into it, I started feeling the pain again, the pain of before the disc slipped out, the pain down the back of my legs.
Right.
The numbness and the tingling all the way down from my hips to my feet.
Right.
It was
And
back.
I thought, oh, God, something is wrong.
So
And, yeah.
I have to interject because my mother went through traditional spine surgery, and they did the same thing. That first doctor only removed the shattered portion of the disc, and he left the remaining. And that sounds exactly the same as to what this doctor had done to you. So there you are in pain again. What do you do this time?
Well, I went back to my surgeon, and I told him what was going on. And he said, well, at this point, they did another MRI. He said, everything's intact. At this point, I'm going to send you to a pain management clinic.
Right.
And I thought to myself, I don't want to go that route. I was 38.
Right.
I know what pain medication for the rest of my life will do to me.
Correct.
So I went and got a second opinion from another neurosurgeon.
All right.
And he said the same thing. He said, I will not operate on you with that story. No way. I am not touching you. I'm sending you to a pain management clinic.
So 2 doctors in Texas, in Dallas, told you that your first doctor, the original doctor, and a secondary doctor, neither one would touch you.
Right. Yeah, they said, we will not do another surgery on you.
Wow.
No way.
Amy, the way that you said that kind of raises a question. Did they not think they could help you, or was it so complicated that they weren't willing to take on that risk or that challenge of that type of a procedure? Did they ever clarify that?
They didn't really clarify that. I kind of I got the feeling that they didn't want to take the risk. That's kind of the feeling that I got.
Got it.
They didn't want to take the risk of going back in and something worse happening, because they were neurosurgeons.
Right.
And they know the nerves are affected.
Correct.
So I'm not going to say they didn't know what to do, but they didn't know.
They knew it was beyond their capabilities at that point.
If the reward was worth the risk. Really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're in that predicament where both doctors are telling you pain management. You know in your heart that that's not what you want to do, because you said it's no life to be on just pain medications. Yeah. So what did you do?
Well, I started talking to friends, and, I'm in the horse community. So one of my very best friends is a Mustang trainer. Her name is Wileen Wilson, and her husband, Randall, had come to you guys about a year earlier.
Sure.
And she said, you need to send that MRI to Dr. Bonati. And I was like, oh my God, they're in Florida. I don't want to, I'm like, oh, just the whole everything. And she was like, no, talk to Randall. And Randall's a true cowboy. He rides horses for 12 hours a day.
Right.
And it completely changed his life. So I sent my MRI off to Dr. Bonati, and Dr. Bonati called me personally. And I was like, holy crap. He actually called me.
Right.
And so that was impressive and shocking all at the same time. And what he said was, I don't want you to talk.
Right.
Don't tell me anything about anything. I don't want to know how you're feeling, where you're feeling it. I will tell you.
Okay.
So he's like, okay, I'm looking at your MRI, and he's going through the scans as he's talking.
Right.
And he tells me exactly what I'm feeling. He's exactly explained everything to the T. Okay, so it hurts a little bit in your low back, but not really like right there. It kind of goes around your hip.
Right.
Down the middle, down your glute, and then comes to your knee and goes to the side and goes straight down the outside. I was I was in shock. I was like, what the heck is going on?
And that was only over the phone. So
that was over the phone.
so let's fast forward. You walk into the institute, and then you get to meet with Dr. Bonati in the evaluation room. Was it equally as impressive in person as he had been over the phone?
Yeah, most definitely. He did the same thing. He was like, no, I remember talking to you.
Right.
I remember kind of the backstory, but don't tell me. I want to go over your MRI in person with you, and we're going to, label everything and show you why and where, and I'm going to show you why it hurts and where it hurts and all that.
Right.
Don't worry, I will show you.
So
yeah.
You're going to move forth with surgery. And they tell you about the conscious IV sedation. How did you feel about that? And what was that experience like for you?
It was very intriguing to me, merely because I'm very proactive in my health, and I want to know what's going on. So when people put me out for surgery, I'm like, dang it, I kind of wanted to,
right.
I want to know what's going on.
Uh-huh.
But then it was like, oh my God, am I going to feel it? Am I going to really be awake? This is kind of freaking me out.
Okay, so did you watch?
Yeah. Okay, so I was out enough to not really realize what was going on, but not out enough to know. Like, I remember seeing the screen,
right?
And I remember seeing what was on the screen. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But not to really realize, oh my God, that's in my body.
Right. It separates you from the minute. But do you remember that interaction during the surgery to make sure that they had gotten to that root cause of the problem?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying absolutely because it was painful, but I'm saying absolutely because that's the only way they know how to know where it hurts.
Right.
So when he would just say, let me know when you feel something, and then we'll go from there. So I was like, okay, yeah, I feel that. Okay, I got it. Yeah, that's right there. And he's like, okay, we'll get it. And then within 10 seconds, it was gone.
Right.
And then he would move to another little spot, and I'd be like, yeah, that's it. And 10 seconds, gone.
Right.
And then, so that's how the procedure went. It didn't seem very long.
Right.
I couldn't tell you how long it was, but maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. But, I mean, literal immediate relief.
Got it.
Of the pain. Like, he touched the spot, and it was fixed immediately.
That's just...
recovery was good. Yeah, everyone was fantastic.
Aww.
Before, during, and after. It was just, I recommend them to everybody that says, oh my gosh, my back hurts so bad. Nobody knows what to do. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know. I know who you should talk to.
The question in the room, though, is, are you back to horseback riding? That's what everyone wants to know.
That is a big question. Yes, I am. I actually started horseback riding 6 weeks after my last procedure with Dr. Bonati.
And so those would be the pictures we're seeing on screen as you're talking. And that's after your surgery. So
those are after, yeah.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
So imagine that. Two of the top doctors in the Dallas, Texas area, one that works on the Cowboys football team, both said, hey, this is the best we can do. Pain management. Take pills the rest of your life. And even after the first procedure that you had done there, they said there's a potential that you could be paralyzed at least partially afterwards. And then Dr. Bonati's got you back riding horses within 6 weeks. That's pretty incredible, if you ask me.
Pretty incredible. Yeah.
Aw.
Pretty incredible. Yeah. Changed my life. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Amy Milkey. We're just about out of time. I could always talk to the patients forever. But continued good health. Continue to keep us updated. We love your story, and God bless.
Thanks,
Amy.
Amy.
Thank you so much.
Aww.
All right, have a good one.
This is precisely why Dr. Bonati does spine surgery, to help people get back to the things they love. And for her, it was horseback riding, which takes great effort. So you can see that she's got that upper body strength back, and lower body too. If you or someone you know suffering just like Amy did, reach out to Bonati at Bonati.com. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about microbiome solutions.
Yeah, and how nasty our Western diet is destroying the microbiome that keeps us healthy, and how we can fix it.
I'm not sure I'll ever eat again. Make sure you stay tuned. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thanks for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Howdy, howdy.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. And right now, joining us on the line is Stephen Francesco, CEO of Francesco International, a pharmaceutical industry executive and author of Overmedicated and Undertreated. Now, this discusses how children have become a goldmine for the drug industry. I think I know that one firsthand. His work was recently featured on NBC's Dateline, and he's here to talk about it. So thanks for being with us, Stephen.
It's my pleasure.
Now, you have a very personal story involving your 15-year-old son. Why don't you tell us about it, Stephen?
Yeah, let me sort of set the stage. The reason that my book is recommended by the New York Times, Columbia University Department of Psychiatry, NBC Dateline, is that through the death of my son as an adverse side effect to his medication, I ended up spending 2 years trying to figure out why this happened. And I have a healthcare pharmaceutical background. So the book, Overmedicated and Undertreated, tells the story of our broken children's mental health care system. And I'm being very specific here. I'm attacking a therapy area. I am by no means anti-drug or anti-doctor.
Right.
I'm saying that the children's mental health area, from the psychiatrists to the insurance companies and drug companies and schools, none of them are working together to give our children the care they really need, the care that my son really needed, and maybe the care that your children and maybe your children's children may need one day.
Yeah.
So I ended up writing this book because I want to help parents so they do not feel they are alone. And also I'm making efforts to begin to fix this system and starting to improve children's lives. Very quickly, in the winter of 2009, my 15-year-old son, Andrew, died from sudden serious side effects to a popularly prescribed psychiatric drug, Seroquel. He was sluggish on a Friday night, but in a coma on a Sunday morning, from which he never emerged.
Wow.
Now, Andrew was a lively, funny, and extraordinarily athletic child. And although he struggled with mental health problems as well as frequent changes in school assignments for most of his young life, I had high hopes for him. After he passed away, I ended up studying what had gone on. And it turns out that he received many, many diagnoses over the 8 years before his death, including ADHD, Tourette syndrome, bipolar disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and various combinations for which he was prescribed numerous drugs. In fact, over those 8 years, he was prescribed over 12 drugs. So I loved him. I did the best I could. But like most parents in crisis, I relied on the expertise and advice of medical professionals, school officials, and other authority figures. And of course, in my family, we did very well. I had my own company. So Andrew was getting the best treatment, and yet we lost him. And after she died, I really had to ask, what could I have done differently? Should I have been less trusting? And despite the apparent good intentions of people we were in touch with, and were there larger profit-oriented trends at play that put my son in jeopardy? So I would say that for your listeners, there are some things that I came across that I think are really very important. I was unaware, and this is a list of unawares, if you want to call it that. I was unaware of the serious issue of rampant incorrect diagnosing and then the resultant over-medicating of powerful drugs to children. And of course, the drugs go into these children, they were tested on adults, but they go into these children because the children are being treated like little adults. And they're allowed to do that, the doctors are allowed to do that because of something called off-label prescribing. And it turns out that something like 90% of the drugs that are given to children are off-label. In other words, there are no approvals for them on safety and efficacy by the FDA. So it turns out that my son was being given more than 50% higher dosage than approved for an adult. And yet my son was 15 years old and 120 pounds. And as it turns out, all that excess dosage eventually caught him, and he died within 36 hours.
Okay, so it's not that he was on a multitude of different drugs. It is just that they gave him a dosage that was too big for his body to handle.
Well, it turns out that over his 8 years, he did take 12 different drugs, and in various combinations. But
there was no like adverse combination, I guess, is what I'm trying to get across.
Like a toxic cocktail of different drugs.
No, okay. In point of fact, he was prescribed lots of different drugs because none of them were effective. They weren't changing his behavior until towards the end. We ended up getting heavy doses of Seroquel, and it was those heavy doses of that one drug
that hurt him.
What caused the side effect.
You know, I am curious. What type of behavior are you talking about?
Well, as I said, he had. Let's. It's really, we don't have a lot of time here, but a lot of the drugs were intended either to control his hyperactivity early
on. But why you need to control the hyperactivity on a child? I am so pissed about this situation in medicine. I cannot believe that you need to control the hyperactivity on the child. What you need to do with a child who is hyperactive, make them do a lot of different exercises and in a healthy life. You cannot be giving drugs to somebody who has a brain that is hyperactive. I really feel that there's an enormous amount of damage doing to the children in this society because they try to control the children practically to keep them like zombies sitting in one corner. That is not the way to treat children. Children need to work, they need to do the things that they want to do, they need to be free, they need to be active.
I completely agree, and in my book there's a chapter where I have a debate with pediatric psychiatrist, and I say he's just being a little boy. Let him be a little boy. And he says, I'm the doctor. He's got ADHD, and he must be on Ritalin.
You should tell him to go to hell. I'm telling you, these things about hyperactivity on the children, this is absolutely a bluff. Really, a child is hyperactive, and no matter what, is hyperactive for us because we're all people sitting on a chair. But the child is not like that. The child is waking up to a new world, has new ideas, new concepts. Everything is new. They need to be hyperactive. That is normal brain.
I completely agree, and there's there's two things I'd like to mention while we're together. There is my book, Over-Medicated and Undertreated, which is a extended case history of what this country puts parents and children through, which should not be going on. So I completely agree with you. And I would like to mention one other thing. I do have a website called Do No Harm Network. Okay. And on that website, there's a blog that I wrote, which is very popular. And I think, Doctor, you'll appreciate this. The title of the blog is 7 Steps on How to Say No, Not Now on Your Child's First ADHD Diagnosis and Prescription. Wow. Okay. And it is exactly what you said. Go to another doctor. If you have to, and this is unfortunately true, move to another school system. Yeah. There's huge pressure right now, and it turns out on ADHD that if you look at kids from 7 to 18, in this country right now, better than 10% have at one time or another been prescribed Ritalin and other stimulants because they were diagnosed with ADHD. So what we have, and what my book tries to get at, is we have a system in this country that has become seriously distorted and incredibly drug-oriented.
Stephen, I am so sorry for your loss. Stephen Francisco, we are out of time right now. We'd love to have you back on at another time to continue the discussion. Thank you for letting everyone know about your book, Over-Medicated, Undertreated. Where can they pick that up?
It's available on Amazon. And you can. It's a Kindle version as well. Okay. And of course, if you get in touch with Barnes & Noble, they will order it.
And Stephen, don't ever forget, a hyperactive child is an intelligent child.
That's the way I was. If Ritalin wasn't around, they would have put it on me, but happily
exactly.
It wasn't around.
Right. Well, Stephen, again, we are so sorry for your loss. Thank you for writing an incredibly needed book about a subject that is so crucial for our kids' well-being.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
You're listening to American Medicine Today. Coming up, Dr. Dominic Maglio going to talk about how we need to take better care of our own health care and take it out of the government's hand. Make sure you stay tuned. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thanks for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Always a pleasure.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Hello, everyone.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. And joining us right now over the phone is returning guest Dr. Dominic Maglio, certified psychotherapist and author. And he's here to discuss his recent article titled, "We Have a Right and Duty to Care for Our Own Health Care." Thank you for being on the show, Dr. Maglio.
Thank you for having me.
Now, one thing that I took away reading your article, Dr. Maglio, is how many Americans, particularly young millennials, think that everything should be free, including free college tuition and, of course, free health care. Why is this, in your opinion, such an insanely bad idea and attitude for them to have?
Well, because if you look at history and you look at presently, the socialist countries that make things free, those items become pretty much worthless after a while. So, it's not free. They confiscate tax money in order to pay for them, and it never seems to maintain the quality that it started out with, and it decreases, and the taxes keep on rising.
Countries like Venezuela and Cuba have done so well. Why wouldn't we model after them?
Yes, that's true. I mean, Venezuela right now is just unbelievable how it's falling. Yes, the millenniums are really being propagandized by our educational system, even on the high school, junior high school level, but especially when they get into college, and they have, been fed this Marxist nonsense that sounds great on paper, but never seems to work. So,
well, sounds very great because somebody else is going to pay it, but when that somebody else becomes without money, the whole thing collapses.
Exactly. Especially when what happens is people with money leave. I mean, they're gonna, if they have money, they're not going to stay around and having to be paying for every single person that exists in society. And when that happens, then
well, already something like that is happening in the industry. I mean, the big companies that they are being taxed badly, they are leaving the country. So the problem with the healthcare is you cannot leave the country, so you're going to be treated like a toy by bureaucrats, and that is extremely dangerous for health.
But doctor, you touched on something that I personally feel is very, very important. You mentioned the education, even though we're talking about healthcare. When we talk about the universities, you have to talk about tenured professors, tenured liberal, socialist, Marxist professors that are teaching our kids not American values, but liberal Marxist values. So it's no surprise that these kids are coming into the workforce with these views.
Absolutely, and that undermining has been taking place for the last 40 years, and it's really affecting people because we don't. One of the things that I find very disappointing is the families are breaking up, and we don't have opportunities in families for parents to pass on, their knowledge and explain to them that. When Castro came into power, Cuba was a fairly thriving place, and in a very short time, in several years, it was already, deteriorated to a third world country and probably one of the poorest in the Caribbean. So, I mean, history keeps on repeating itself, but if you don't learn history, you have no idea what happened, and you have nothing to tell you what the truth is. Because
Dr. Maglio, you are Dr. Maglio, you are an educator. Why your school thrives so much and the kids are so incredibly well educated? What is happening on the market, on the other schools that they are so extremely poorly trained and poorly taught?
Well, one of the things that was mentioned already is tenured professors. You have unions, you have people making decisions to placate parents. And what happens when you placate parents, everybody gets high grades, and the integrity of marking goes down to nothing. And you have children who are getting straight A's, and they're not learning much because no one seems to care about whether, as long as, whether the child has learned something or not. The only thing they care about, the child is happy or not. And I think it's partially the parents' fault. It's certainly our educators are not. They know they have problems. They just don't seem to be able to correct it because there's nobody in charge. It's all there's tremendous amount of responsibility given to everybody, but no power. And that's the state of education is very bad. But at the same time, our medical profession is following suit, and we're starting to see deterioration in our healthcare because of the same reason. People they don't want, doctors don't want to be able to have to deal with Medicare, the whole government bureaucracy, paperwork, whatnot. They want to be healers. They're told they can't heal because protocols don't allow them to heal. So what happens is the good ones leave, the young ones come in who have not been educated that well, and it just keeps on declining more and more.
But why is it we allow the government bureaucrats to take hold of our health care, and we allow them to tell us what we need so they can withhold treatment or allocate treatment? And we all of a sudden become slaves to the government. We become their government property. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I think because people like to take the easy way out. They promised. Obama promised that you'll get $2,500 back from this change into Obamacare. That is such a total falsehood that it's unbelievable. It's found out that we are paying more than a lot of the major health care providers right now are dropping out.
Correct.
Humana is out there. They're just dropping out like flies because they're losing money. So what Marxism is based on is promises, hope, and change. And the problem is when you get down to the actual reality, it doesn't pan out, and people then become desperate and they want something more and more free. And this election is a perfect example of what's going to happen. We're either going to choose right now to go down the same road towards, socialist/communism, or people are going to revolt like they did in England with Brexit. It's a black and white issue now, and we'll see what happens. And how can we continue down this slide? It's because people are not educated, and that's something that's our fault.
I think in the healthcare the approach needs to be totally different. I really think the healthcare, the physicians, they need to form one for all a coalition and organize the system in a certain way that protect medicine. I think the insurance companies should use the same type of an attitude and join the physicians. And between the insurance companies and the physicians, I promise you the healthcare will change totally. It's not expensive. The government makes the healthcare expensive. The regulations and all the interference that the government creates and the bureaucracy that they create is what make the healthcare crazy expensive. But if that is being directed in a marketplace by doctors and insurance companies, I really think this will change, and that's the direction that we need to go, because I don't think we have ever again the possibility to coordinate or to change the political arena. I start to see it's incredible how poorly the country is voting. The education of the country is so poor, and the stupidity of the American voter, as the guy in the healthcare said, is real. I never thought that can happen. Education is incredible bad, and the vote that is going to be casted by Democrats, that is majority in the country today, is because they are uneducated and they are being guided to have a very poor type of results. We're receiving the same results all the time. Look at the lies of Obama, and still we are going with this type of behavior.
It's a ditto for any time government gets involved. in the private sector, whatever they touch turns to dust. So I mean, you're 100% right. The same thing happened in education and bureaucracy. Why does it cost so much to educate children in public school? It's a phenomenal amount of money. We are basically providing more funds for student education in any country in the world, and yet our education's on like 35th, 32nd in different subject areas. So when government gets involved, this is what happens. I think people are waking up. We'll see after this election, but I think people are starting to say, look, the quality of everything has gone down, so we need to make a change, and we're going to get back to using more of a capitalistic approach to all of everything that we do. And this will be a turning point one way or the other, but you're right. If we can get the industry, of the medical industry, involved with doctors, that's the best medicine we can possibly give the institution, without a doubt.
Not only that, when doctors stand up and they say, look, we are not going to take anything that is governmental, the destruction of all the stupidity of the government will be under control. Doctors, they need to put together their hands. They need to create a new American Medical Association, because American Medical Association is another crippled institution that is siding with the government. So they have their direction totally in the wrong side, and it's everything because they are in bed with the government.
Can I jump in here for a second? Because we had been speaking about healthcare is not a right, and Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders both came out supporting healthcare as a right for all U.S. citizens. What are your thoughts?
Well, they also came out with it's a right for free housing, it's a right for tuition for college, it's a right for vacations. I mean, they also have right for cell phones and what other electronic gadgets. They're giving this to people. I witnessed it myself in Puerto Rico. They give out phones. They give out phones in the United States. They give out a lot of things, but that is to attract people
to vote
in order to buy their votes. And free is not free, because nothing is free in the world. You have to work for it to be, yours.
Yeah, but you can
there's strings attached.
You can see, for example, the when we talk about the individuals that they are in the worst position economically in the country are the black population, and they still continue voting Democrat. That is because of lack of education. And the same thing is happening with the people the immigrants, that they don't speak the language, they don't understand what's going on in the country. So they are attracting that one with lies. And when they are here, they are not going to be able to survive. So that is the problem that we have, the lies that they are in the government and in these individuals that they are our leaders, and they are no accountability. Meanwhile, we don't have accountability on the leaders. We are not going to be able to control this damage.
Well,
accountability is a very big issue, for sure.
It certainly is, of which this current administration has no accountability for their actions. Thank you so much, Dr. Dominic Maglio, certified psychotherapist and author. Thank you for discussing the fact that we have a right and duty to care for our own health. We appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
That'll do it.
That about wraps things up. Make sure you stay tuned, because you're going to find out what's new in American medicine today. Make sure you stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thanks for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
Jeffrey Wagstaff.
Thanks for letting me join.
And writing some last-minute notes is world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute.
Let's look at what's new in medicine today, featuring Alfred Bonati, MD.
All right, Doc.
This has to do with what? Accountable care organizations? Mm-hmm. And how more government-run healthcare is bound to fail?
Doc, what's an accountable care organization? I have no idea. I'm not going to lie.
Well, the government is trying to put Obamacare on steroids. Practically is one step of nationalized medicine. Mm-hmm. The Accountable Care Organization is a government paying people that they are employed by the government to decrease the amount of care to the patient in behalf of saving dollars, and they pay bonuses to those employees if they refuse to have the care that the patient deserves. So, as you see, we are putting our dollars on the government to do a disservice to us. Now, you need to understand that the complete control of the government on the health care is not only a disaster, it's a situation that we are going to see our families dying, or our families without health care,
sure,
or our families running for insurance that they would not exist.
Right, because when the government gets involved, they're very stringent on how they allocate healthcare, correct? So they're going to all of a sudden say, oh, you age out of the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Remember that the healthcare in the socialized medicine, they have only a target to the middle-aged population. Mm-hmm. So what happens is between 20 and 60, they have some sort of a service that is a crappy service, but it's a service. Pediatrics doesn't have service, and elderly doesn't have service. So if you are 65 and older and you have an illnesses that is expensive, they're not going to treat you. They're going to give you some pills, like Obama said one time, oh, it's better if they give you pain medication.
I remember that, yeah.
And if it's a pediatric and you have a type of an illnesses that require surgery on a kid, it's not good expensive. It's not good to spend the money on that kid. So what happens is they are going to ignore the illnesses on that kid, probably thinking that it's going to die sooner or later. Right. So it's not service on the pediatrics, it's no service on the elderly, it's only service, any bad service to the people on the middle who is the productive people in society. Now, the ACO, the Accountable Care Organization, is a mandate by the government. And the only thing that they are going to do is they are going to have less treatments, less drugs, or they're going to do the most inexpensive treatments, the most inexpensive drugs. They are not going to be improving the instrumentation. They're going to try to use instruments that they were used in the 900s, because really they cannot spend on new technology.
Right.
When they start to do new technology, anything that's new technology is expensive.
Right.
So the only way to create new technology is with the market participation. But the market participation is going to move from medicine, and it's going to be left to the cronies in Washington and bureaucrats that they are going to practically decide your health. Now, the high quality healthcare is going to disappear totally. What we have today is going to be gone.
Right, because they're going to start with specialists.
They are going to start to eliminate the specialties.
Right.
One of the things they're going to go and say, well, you need to go to your family physician, and your family physician needs to give you a prescription till you go to the specialties.
Correct.
It's already happening in some insurance that.
Yes.
But then what happened with that is the family physician is going to hold you there because they are going to be paid certain type of bonuses,
a kickback,
if they don't refer to specialties. So the American medicine is great, not because we have family practitioners. The American medicine is great because we have two elements in this society that they make medicine great. One is an enormous good training in specialties.
Yes.
But when you become a specialist, you also have behind you an industry. And that industry is going to provide instrumentations and is going to capacitate you to challenge you to do better things and more things.
Innovations.
And innovations.
Right.
Then what that happens, you have an incredible amount of results that make American medicine what American medicine is today. But with this type of an action of the government, all this will be destroyed.
Right.
And we will have the same type of medicine that you have in Europe, that the specialist doesn't exist.
And you're going to get more lies because, as we all know with Obamacare, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
Nope.
And if you like your health insurance plan, you can keep it.
Nope.
No.
And those turned out to be lies. This is going to run the same way, so it's going to be the same non-delivery of health care.
But Doc,
once you get
Empty
the
promises.
mandate from ACOs, the problem is the high quality care disappear, and the people will need to go to an ACO doctor who, if you want or you don't, you have no anything to say so.
I have to ask though, you always say healthcare provider, medical provider. Is an ACO going to actually be under what they deem a medical provider or a healthcare provider? Is it actually even more substandard?
Yeah, it's going to be probably individuals that they are poorly trained. If you look, for example, some of the socialized medicine, very simple, right here in our close to our shores. If you go to Cuba, the physicians are 2 years trained. So they have less training they think they're training than a nurse in the United States. And in 2 years, those guys are doing brain surgery. Oh. So you do have a problem, am I right?
Yeah, you don't want to fast track your medical health care. Well, we're about out of time, so that wraps up what's new in American medicine today. Make sure if you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, sciatic pain, they reach out to Bonati at Bonati.com or call 855-267-0483. We'll see you next time. You're watching American Medicine Today. Bye-bye, and listening.